What is up, everybody? Episode 86 of the Podio Slave Podcast. Tony here. I am here, as always, with Anthony and Nate. How you guys doing tonight?
Nate, Tony, what's up, gentlemen? I'm doing good. Music, nerdery, maybe some sports in the background. Who knows? What's going
Always,
on?
yeah.
Feeling good, feeling great. I got to take that from you, Twan. I love it. It's almost like clockwork. Feeling good, feeling great. How about you?
A little Outcast action.
That's from something, right?
Outcast.
Speaker,
yes.
Is it Speakerbox and the Love Below?
Great album. And that's tonight's episode, double albums that don't suck.
Oh, man, we could do that, though. That's actually not a bad idea down the road. And we have talked about double albums in the past. And funny, you mentioned that our good friend Spose released his about 10 days ago. So go listen to Get Rich or Die Ryan. We've been spinning it pretty much since I got it in the mail the day before it dropped. And then again, when it went, I pre-saved it and all that fun stuff. So it's a good record. It's got a lot of fun, different kind of avenues that he wanders into. So go peep that.
Yeah, I checked it out. Rap side's fantastic. The rock side is definitely some unique stuff for him. But it pulls it off really good. If you're a Rustic Overtones fan from back in the day, there's definitely get that footprint all over it with Dave Gutter. Yeah, I'm not going to spoil it. Go check it out. Double album.
Yeah, plus Spose is a man of his word, right? He's a nerd, so he actually put out like a half rock album, which is cool because he's got some roots with Smashing Pumpkins and all that good stuff from the 90s.
For sure. Yep, definitely. So yeah, go peep that. We want to do a little. We had our Shreducation with Greg last week. We did the Kanye deep dive. We're back to an original, just the three of us episode. It feels like it's been a while, gentlemen, but I'm excited for this.
It has been.
Yeah.
It feels throwback. Yeah, it feels like a throwback episode already.
Yeah, even the lead up to it, it's like, oh, nice, get to hang out with my buddies without the guest, which is we like the guests, we love the guests, but hanging out with the OG crowd is always nice too. So
yeah, we're dusting off one of our old segments, one that we kind of made up over a year ago now, right? But with a little different twist to it. So we've heard us talk about Bandicap. We've had friends on other podcasts have adopted it as well. It's when a band name is a handicap, we turn that into a Bandicap. So our main segment tonight is going to be kind of a twist on that, album names that are we feel are Bandicaps. So that's coming a little later in the episode. But yeah, we're gonna dust off the Bandicap tonight.
I get a few, and I hope you guys don't have these. I mean, if you do, great. We can double down on it, and they're not necessarily negative per se. Mine, I think, translates to a little bit of handicap, but I'm not going to spoil it. You guys, we'll spill the beans here in a little bit. But so, what are we going to talk about before that? We're going to talk about some live music, right? We had the concert wars a couple weeks back. You guys saw some concerts since then, right? Did they crack the top 5?
I had a busy October. I saw Clutch, Frank Turner with Laura Jane Grace, Manchester Orchestra, and a couple nights later, City in Color. And full disclosure, we haven't seen City in Color yet. We're recording this a little earlier than that actually happened, but by now I've seen them as well. So busy October for Tone.
yeah, you saw a lot. I've been trying to get it all in while I can. So what did I see? Saw Alanis Morissette on her 20th anniversary or 25th anniversary, I think.
Yeah, 25th.
Of Jagged Little Pill. Fantastic show with Garbage and Cat Power. Great show. I've always loved her. You know, she's obviously part of that grunge scene. Obviously, I respect that. Also, speaking of the grunge scene, had the great opportunity to see Pearl Jam 2 weekends in a row at Ohana Fest. So between Pearl Jam, Eddie Vedder, a bunch of their friends, Kings of Leon was supposed to be on the bill, but they dropped off due to a family emergency, which really sucks for those guys. But yeah, trying to catch as much as I can. And got Jimmy Eat World, Taking Back Sunday, all sorts of good stuff. Just trying to get it all in while we can, you know. COVID really put everything to a complete stop. So we got to make up for lost time.
And you guys are going to music. Going to shows. I've had to cancel me going to 2 shows in a row now. The Crime and Stereo show and the Gojira Knocked Loose show. Can't swing that for a couple different reasons, but yeah, I do want to get to Glassjaw next year. I do want to get to American Nightmare down in Boston next year. It was just announced. There's a few others. I do have Deftones tickets for next year.
Nice.
But now I'm like, do I commit? Do I get tickets? Because what if I can't go? But I'm just going to get them and hope for the best.
Yeah, I mean, I would say if you can go, obviously try to go. It's been great to be back in some of our favorite rooms. You know, I was at Hampton Beach. I was at the State Theater a bunch of times. I was emotional sitting at Manchester Orchestra the other night, just up in the balcony watching them play. Band I didn't think I'd see again. It'd been 13 years, and in a room that I was in one other time prior to that, but almost a 2-year hiatus being in there. So that's a place we all grew up in. So to be back at those things, enjoying live music, being around, other like-minded people, being part of a collection of people that are excited about the same thing, man, there's nothing like it. It's always so much fun. And then when the band kicks ass too, like all of the shows I saw were great. Like Clutch was awesome.
Were they well attended?
Yeah, they were all pretty well attended. I would say that Clutch was probably 3/4 full, and Manork was probably, yes, I called them Manork, was probably, geez, it was close to sold out if it wasn't.
Nice.
There's a lot of people, yeah, and it was comfortable though. Like I stayed back away from people for the most part. I mean, everybody's got to show vax stuff, so that's comfortable too. But yeah, just awesome to be back at that stuff.
Yeah, it really is, especially because when we launched this podcast, we've talked so much at length on, I think, at the beginning especially, we thought live music was we thought it was going to take years. We were talking about like having to wear like this hazmat suit and all these different theories.
That's right.
Like we were like, man, like live music, it might be, we were putting like almost like bets down, like, oh man, it's probably gonna be like 3 years. At that point, is it even worth going? All this stuff. And here we are like a year later, and we actually went to shows in the flesh.
Year and a half.
Year and a half. Yeah, it is a year and a half. But regardless, it's not only going back to shows, but it's going back to shows for the most part in a normal capacity. It's not like it's this, socially distanced type show in pods, which we all thought was like, oh, we're going to go back and it's going to be like really weird and a different experience. But it's actually pretty close to what it was like before the pandemic.
Well, it's like with the sporting events too. Like I'm looking at the crowds and it's more people unmasked than masked. Like it looks pretty normal. And I don't know. I haven't looked at the numbers recently, so I don't know where that stands, but it looks like directionally, at least for shows, concerts, is headed in the right direction. There's still precautions. I mean, the musicians are playing it safe, and you get some. Who did you just say dropped off that show, Nate?
Kings of Leon.
Kings of Leon. Ooh, that's a tough one. Yeah.
They dropped off because the Followell brothers, because they're brothers in that band and cousins, their mother died, not of COVID. Okay. So that was the core reason for that cancellation. Yeah.
But I mean, there have been shows in other capacities. I know, just paying attention to like Counting Crows when Frank Turner was playing with them, they had to drop a couple. The Boston show was moved from like early August to like last week or 2 weeks ago. So stuff was obviously, it's still a little precarious in spots, but it does feel like we've turned somewhat of a corner, at least, regionally in Maine, and I think for you too, Nate, especially where you can be outdoors a little more in the winter months. Like we can't do that as much here, so it'll be a little interesting going into the winter months here. But yeah, it feels like we're heading in some sort of right direction when it comes to live music.
Yeah, I mean the outdoor show we went to felt perfectly normal. Yep. I wouldn't have known that was an event in COVID, largely because it was outside and everyone was kind of in their own pod. If you wanted to be, you just hang with your friends, socially distance if that's your thing.
And being outside, I think, is more comfortable anyway. But I haven't felt super uncomfortable inside yet. Maybe that's false bravado. Maybe I'm just I'm comfortable with the fact that I've taken the precautions that I need to at that point. I don't know. Maybe it's all a little bit of both. But who knows, man? I can't. I want to get out to that stuff again, and I'm so happy that we can. So I'm just hoping it sticks around.
And Nate, to channel back to something you said last year, which is it's going to be a dogfight for these bands to get the venues booked. This could be just the first wave of bands. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Next year could be the onslaught of bands really touring, which I don't know. I think we'll be in a better place, as far as COVID goes, even better place. And I'm looking forward to that.
Next summer's gonna be nuts.
Yeah.
It's gonna go ham.
I think it is. Yep.
Yeah, no, it's a great point, because a lot of tours that were set to go this fall, many artists postponed to 2022, and you start to see these lineups and bands announcing new tours for next year, and you're like, oh wow, this might be like the year of all years for shows to really come back hard. Like Coachella's coming back, all the European festivals are on schedule for next summer. And I'm talking like the mega, Rock AM Ring like type festivals where it's just a sea of hundreds of thousands of people. So I think this is, like you said, tier one of the opening phase, and come, Q2 of next year, it's going to be pretty much close to normal. And then come summer, it's on. I mean, buy some Live Nation stock while you can, I guess.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because there are fests that just either didn't do 2020, like it was later in the year, so they avoided even announcing it, or they had to postpone it. And then a lot of those festivals didn't even make an effort for 2021 for a good reason. Right. I think 2022 is going to be fun.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe that's the Deftones road trip.
Yeah, that could be it.
Wow, 2 years in the making.
Yeah, you come out here, Nate.
Yeah, you got to come on to East Coast, and we'll hit up New York. We'll hit up Connecticut. We'll hit up let's do it.
I mean, that's the ultimate plot twist, right? Because I did come back east, and then we were supposed to go to the show in Connecticut and or Boston, and the whole tour got postponed. I think like a week before I flew back.
Yeah, so right around a week.
Yeah. So the Rage, you have to come back for Rage at least, Madison Square Garden.
Yes.
Oh yeah, we were joking in the group text. They're doing a 5-night residency at Madison Square Garden. That's insanity.
Yep.
If it's still happening, right? Was it re-announced?
It's on. Yeah, it's on for next year.
Maybe I'll make that happen.
July.
Man, that'd be cool.
Speaking of Rage, Evil Empire is a album named Bandicap. No, not even close.
So?
Not even close.
I think it's the opposite, actually.
It's actually one of the goats.
It's a band vantage.
It's a band vantage.
Which we may do that too, right? I mean, that could totally be something we do down the road. We've done both for band names, and now we're going to do one for Bandicap for album titles.
Yeah, and what I was getting to earlier is, like, the ones that I picked, it's just my opinion. Some people might look at these and say, you know what, those are great. Just like, I think I brought up Butthole Surfers for Bandicap last time, where it almost swung the pendulum on its head, where it's actually probably a good name,
Because it's them. Yeah.
And I think the ones I picked, I have kind of personal, not ties to them, but like my personal experience with these albums ties into why I picked them.
And I like that.
Did you pick Hairway to Steven?
Which is Butthole Surfers, right?
Surfers.
No,
Yeah.
I did.
It's a terrible album title.
Speaking of Butthole Surfers, now that is awful, but I guess I'm not as well versed as maybe I should, and that's what people should just expect from them.
Oh, and totally. This is not a referendum on the music itself. This is a referendum on what we think. Yeah. It's what we think the music. It has nothing to do with it. It's what we think the name is. Does it take away from the album itself? Like, would this be cooler if it was named something different?
Perfectly well put.
Exactly. Is it a disservice to the music that's actually good?
Right.
Yeah. Whereas if it had a good title, would you revisit this album more had it had a better album title, or just gone friggin' untitled altogether? I mean, come on.
Right.
Why go out of your way to put out a shitty album title?
Can I double down on that, Nate?
So.
It could be so bizarre and bad that it's the reason why you never checked it out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Which comes up for me.
All right, I got one. I'm gonna lead us off here.
Yeah,
I got one that I thought there's a chance that we all have it. It is a terrible album title. This album just had a birthday a couple weeks back, probably a month ago now. I think 99, 2000.
I guess.
So yeah.
Actually, you said the year, so never mind. I was going to say For Never by Hoobastank, but nah.
No, but
I think I know what it is.
We did talk about Hoobastank being a Bandicap in the original Bandicap episode, and then obviously the self-titled record being also a Bandicap, that also would fit, but not Hoobastank. Twan, what do you got? What do you think it is?
Is it actually no, that wasn't 99. Nope, carry on.
It might have been 2000.
Chocolate Starfish?
Yep.
Yeah.
Chocolate Starfish
yeah.
and the hot dog flavored water, which is just such a terrible album title. Limp Bizkit, I'm sorry. But like, this comes from a Limp Bizkit fan who likes that record. Like, I bought it when it came out. I've listened to it off and on over the years still. Like, I'll still play Boiler. I'll still play Hold On with Wyland because that's a great song. The Take a Look Around Mission Impossible theme, also great. Like, there's some good songs on that record, but man, chocolate starfish, which we all kind of know what that means. I won't explain it. And the hot dog flavored water, like, is there anything worse than hot dog flavored water? No, I don't want that in my life ever. So yeah, this is a Bandicap album title to the 100th degree.
So question for you. Did you know that reference when you were 16 when it came out?
I don't think so.
I don't
Probably
think
not.
I did either, right?
I didn't.
Yeah.
I definitely didn't. This is a similar to the Take Your Pants Off and Jacket by Blink thing. I was just a teenager, like, oh, cool, new album, sweet.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Why are there pants and a jacket on this? This is weird.
And why
Same
are they
idea,
taking them off?
So, but take off your pants and jacket. Good, kind of a good segue. That actually fits for Blink and is, I think, a band vantage as far as what they do and what you're going to get from them, especially on that record, which we've talked about before. Go back and listen to. We did a whole deep dive on that record because it turned 20 last year. Great record. We love it. But it fits for that. This doesn't really fit the Limp Bizkit record. Like,
no.
Why not name it Boiler? Boiler's a freaking awesome song. Why not name it that? That would fit for this, right? And the album art is also atrocious. Like, let's be honest here. This is the fact that this sold as many copies as it did, a testament to Limp being as big as they were at this time, because nu metal was obviously king and they were the kings of nu metal. It's wild to me that anybody would walk into a record store, pick this CD up and say, I'm buying this today. Like, this just looks terrible. The name is weird. Like, what am I doing? But the record was good. So that's why.
Man, you just said two things that kind of brought some thoughts to my head. One being the artwork is done by the legendary guitarist Wes Borland. So he's always kind of the black sheep of the band, right? So his style doesn't necessarily reflect the band's overall image or sound. So he's kind of left to center, which is why he's awesome, right? So that's one thing. The other part of that, though, which kind of reminds me, is the album title referencing an album track is always an interesting kind of full circle thing for an album, because usually it's the best song of the album or it's the theme of the album. So Boiler's not necessarily the theme of the album, but it's definitely the best song. So I think you're right. Like, name it, the centerpiece of the album, which was Boiler in terms of a good song. But I mean, Chocolate Starfish is all over the map in terms of sound. Like, it's just, there's so many different variations within the album with special guests and different versions of songs. And
name it Full Nelson. Why not name it Full Nelson?
Name it Full Nelson. Yeah, go simple. Yeah. Simple is better. But I agree, man. Not a good, and especially with us being older now, we're like, why the fuck would you name the album that way?
All right, so here's the thing: is they could do that because they were massive. You know, it was their decision to do it. Yeah. But it shows you is they didn't give a fuck. Like, we're here with the biggest band in the world. We can do what we want, take it or leave it. And were they on Immortal, right? Epic Immortal. If they weren't down with it, they would have found another home. At
that point, yeah, they absolutely would have.
Yeah,
they were so big. But yeah, there are like 5 songs in here you could name it My Way, Full Nelson, Living It Up. I mean, Boiler, they could have been fine with any of those as album titles, but instead we got Chocolate Starfish and the hot dog flavored water. So that is my initial Bandicap album edition entry.
Great start. That's like, the headlining band coming out with a banger,
Did neither of you guys had that one?
It came up in my thought process, but I didn't. I just chose other ones.
Nice. Awesome. I thought maybe we'd all have it, but I'm glad we didn't.
Did you have it, Nate?
I didn't have it, but I agree completely. It's
totally
bad.
All right, I'll jump in here. This is one that, I've known this album has existed for 25 years. We know the name of the album. We know the artwork. Used to see it in Columbia House. It was a BMG in Columbia House. Used to see it in all those. When we said we were going to do this segment, this is literally the first album that came to mind. And the irony is, it's so bad that I never listened to it. And I didn't know it was a cover album until the last week. It came out in the early 90s. Any ideas?
Cover album? Shit.
I got nothing.
Guns N' Roses, The Spaghetti Incident.
Oh, yeah.
With a question mark. Not just Spaghetti Incident. Spaghetti Incident with a question mark. I didn't know this was a cover album until the last week when we said we were going to do this. And
wow,
I'm kind of pissed the album title sucks so bad, because They cover the Misfits. They cover the Damned. They cover the UK Subs. They cover Fear, which is Flea's early punk band. I'm trying to think of New York Dolls, the Stooges. So a lot of like legacy punk bands that, who knows, maybe GNR butchered the songs and I won't like it, but I do want to listen to it. Have you guys ever listened to this album?
Never.
Is it because of the name?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, never listened to it. And it's not for not being a fan of GNR. Like, I've spent a decent amount of time with GNR stuff, but never this one.
No, as you were describing it, I'm like, that's actually me. And that's my personal experience too, as I, sifted past this album because of the title and actually the album cover, to be honest. The whole package was like, nah, I don't hear much about this album, so it's probably not worth checking out. I had no idea until you just said this is news to me. It's a covers album.
Why the question mark?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I tried to find
the spaghetti incident. Like, it's like, was there one? Or are we not even sure that even happened? Or is it the spaghetti incident? Like, what? Why the question mark? I have so many questions. Axel, come on.
Is this room getting smaller?
Yeah, right? Yeah.
It's the kind of thing that's like, all right, if they're going to roll out an album with that visual and that name, like, if they don't give a fuck about it, I don't give a fuck about it, you know?
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Right.
That really is a good point. And this goes back to a conversation we've had a million times. Was this to satisfy a deal?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the home run here. I think that's the walk off. Like, it had to have been, right?
Yeah, and there's probably some good stuff on there musically. This isn't a referendum on the music. This is here's a shitty album title, here's a shitty album art. Like, we're doing covers this time. Peace.
Oh man. Let's think of this. They come out with Appetite for Destruction, then they come out with, there's an album what's after that, and then they go the two Use Your Illusions. I'm drawing a blank here, but so this was album number 5. 5 album deals was probably a thing, and was Chinese Democracy after this?
Yeah, Chinese Democracy was like
way after
09.
Right, but was there an album in between this?
There was a live album.
Yeah, I think you're right,
and then
Tone.
Chinese Democracy.
The story checks out.
Yeah, because it was Appetite, Lies, Use Your Illusion 1 and 2.
Oh, that's right.
And then the
Lies.
Spaghetti. Yeah, and Chinese didn't come out until 2009, which is insanity.
So there's no album in between there. Yeah, so this was, all right, we're throwing out some spaghetti, get off our back.
Yeah.
Maybe this is their take on throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Yeah, maybe. The spaghetti incident? Let's chuck it at the wall.
I didn't know they had, like, these type of roots. You know what I mean? Just real kind of grassroots roots.
I mean, they came along at the end of kind of the hair metal 80s, right?
Yep.
But they had a little more of an edge than some of the hair metal that was out around the time.
Yep.
So I get let's do some punk covers, you know what I mean? Like, that makes more sense to me than another, like, Def Leppard doing it or something.
Totally. Yep. So yeah, spaghetti incident. Nate, what you got?
Good one. That's a good call.
Yeah, that was a good one, man. Especially because we're all on the same page. So mine is a 90s OG, and been kind of getting back into this band because they're coming through these neck of the woods in December. And I used to love this band. I still do. But this album title has always been kind of like, why is it so long, first of all? Secondly, like, what does it mean? And to boot, the album covers is horrendous. It's Happiness is Not a Fish That You Can Catch by Our Lady Peace.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought of this one too.
Yeah. Shitty album title. And the cover, it's just like, I mean, I had it burned initially, so I just said Happiness, and I never saw the horrendous album cover. So I just spun it, and it was no big deal. But to pick this up and buy it, let alone be the band and tour off this, it's like, I don't know how these decisions are made, but they're not the right decisions.
And the cover too.
Oh, it's so bad.
If you're listening, go. I mean, you probably know it already, but go pull up the album cover, the visual.
Yeah, like, weird. But there's some great songs on here. One Man Army, great song.
Oh, yeah.
Great album.
songs. Exactly. No knock on the music again. Yeah.
They only put Happiness on the cover. They don't put the rest of it.
Happiness, ... Yep. This is not a great album title. I thought you were going to say Chumbawamba because they had a really long one too, Nate. I was like, oh, you're getting back into Chumbawamba? They're coming around? You're going to go see them? Nice. Our Lady Peace, we love Our Lady Peace musically. I mean, we've talked about them before too, but this album title leaves a little bit to be desired, and for a great album. And 99, yeah, 99 OG.
Which is, it brings up another point, because in today's lens, 2021, terrible album title and terrible album cover. But for 1999, the album cover actually fits the time, because that looks like it's right out of 1999.
I agree.
Oh, totally.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So they knew what they were doing at the time. Title still is too long. Like, it's short and sweet is, I think, what we all like, but it's just complicated. And when it's complicated, you forget about it, I feel like.
Yeah. If it becomes work that isn't work you want to do, yeah. Totally. And, Our Lady Peace put on a new record. There's a guy in a top hat standing in a field with a fish. This is kind of weird. Like, I just, at that age, 1999, I'm what, 15? That's prime me going into a record store and being like, oh, that's flashy. I want to buy that. Like, that looks like something that I might want to get. And this just wouldn't be a thing. You know, I'd be like, nah, I don't want that. Unless I already knew all the music and it was good.
Like, would this title prevent not just this album, but an album from being a classic? I think it might. Like, it would.
It could. It could.
The music would have to come hard for it to overcome that name. And it's a great album. I'm not saying it does or doesn't.
Right.
Yeah, maybe I'm saying it doesn't, but
yeah, not a great title though. Just not a great album title.
I'm trying to.
But Bandicap, certified Bandicap.
Yeah, no matter what, context you put it in. Like, I'm 15 years old. I'm making my Christmas list. What do you want for Christmas, Nate? I want Happiness Is Not a Fish That You Can Catch by Our Lady Peace. Like, after Happiness, my parents have already lost interest. They're like, wait, what? I'm like, huh?
No.
What?
You mean the band that Billy Corgan thinks is ripping them off? That band? Yeah. That was a good round one.
Good round one.
That was.
All right, I'm ready for round two. Are you guys ready for round two?
Yeah. Yes.
This one's newer. It's not an album. It's an EP. Are we okay with this? I'm gonna leave it up to the audio slave, the certified nerds on the other end here. Okay. Yeah, it's a band that I think we all love, and they've been around a long time. But they just put an EP out earlier this year, and it's a good EP. I like it. It's been a while since we've gotten new music from them. The name of it's not very good. I don't get it either. Like, I don't. And the album art is weird too. There's like a chick with butter. Like, I don't butter for head. I'm confused by the whole thing. It's Counting Crows, Butter Miracles, Sweet One.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
What does that mean? What does that mean? I have no idea. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I actually don't remember this coming up. I maybe I did and just didn't. I'm actually looking it up now. Butter Miracles, Sweet One. Am I reading this right?
You are reading this correctly. It is Butter Miracle Sweet One, and the cover is like a bunch of butter and like a woman's body with a toast for a head with butter on it. Like, this is something that you would think was a prank. Like, is this a Weird Al record? No, it's a Counting Crows EP. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, the music is good though. All 4 songs are good.
This is textbook Bandicap album name.
Oh my God.
I mean, if I'm listening to this, I'm dialing back to that.
Yeah. I've listened to it a couple times. I am not sure. I still don't understand it. The album title. Now, here's my only caveat. If this dropped in like 98, I'd be like, oh, that's kind of weird. Love the band. I'll check it out. This drops in 2021, and the name got a lot of chatter online, and that might be the reason why. It just kind of put it, not head and shoulders above, but like added some buzz, some internet buzz to the music, because that Counting Crows just put out some music. Oh, the name's weird though, but I'm gonna check it out. That type of thing.
That's a great point. It's amplified because of social media and the fact there's chatter. Like, I was too young to know the chatter when like Nevermind came out, but I'm wondering if that came out today, there'd be a ton of chatter. You know what I mean? I think it's weird, but it's also maybe the victim of the era, the digital era.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, when a band already has a legacy and they put in an album that's hard to digest initially, you're like, maybe it's probably a skip album anyway. You have this like initial reaction. You're like, oh, I'll check them out. But this album, I probably don't, like you were saying earlier, Twan, maybe I don't need to check out the album, but I'll always love this band. And it's like, because of the first initial reaction from the album artwork, you're kind of like, it's probably good. The album does, like, I don't want to judge a book by the cover, but the album cover is kind of throwing me off. So maybe I'll catch them when they swing around, but I'm not going to check out the album because I know this is what happened with me with this album. I was like, album cover kind of sucks.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. So I guess it's like hybrid between album cover and album name in this sense.
So when you listen to this, Tone, for the first time, could you disconnect the visual from the music, or was that toast creeping into your skull?
Well, it was on my console in my car, so it didn't go away. I was like, oh man, I like this song a lot. I'm driving along, whatever. Oh, weird. There's a weird toast lady on my console. No, it's good. I can do that. I put it in headphones, listen to it, not even think about it. But it always comes back to like, why name it that?
Yeah.
Why Suite 1? Is there another suite? Like, are we missing? Is this going to be part of a larger thing? Maybe it could be. Who knows?
That's a good one.
I mean, it kind of reminds me of the podcast because we have so many inside jokes that we kind of toss around between us on air. And if other people hear it, they're probably like, I don't know what that guy just said, but whatever. For us, we're all like laughing. Yes. So it might be like an inside joke for Counting Crows where like they know, no one else knows. But when you're on that kind of level, which obviously we aspire to, you kind of have to make it a little bit more even playing field in terms of understanding what that backstory is.
That's a good point.
Yeah, or they don't care. But you're right. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Well, like, you know, I wonder if like Slash and Axl look at each other like the spaghetti incident, and everybody just like laugh, and like everybody's like, "You guys are assholes," but that's funny. I get it.
I think it's the ultimate middle finger. It's hey, here's the album that you wanted us for, and here's a bunch of punk covers. Deal with
it. Right.
Yeah. Peace.
But this was like not a return to form, but like we're putting ourselves back out there for the Counting Crows. So I was confused by it, but at the same time, I love the band and will always love the band. And I mean, it's got 4 really good songs on it, so I'm fine with it. I'll listen to it. I bought it on vinyl. I have the Toast Lady in my vinyl collection in the living room right now. So you know, it didn't stop me from doing what I would do with the Counting Crows record.
Nice.
Still certified Bandicap.
Patio Slave certified.
We need a sticker, like a stamp sound.
Right. All right. Round 2 for me. This is a band that I was trying to transport myself back to the late 90s. I actually first heard them on the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater for PlayStation soundtrack. Do you guys remember the song Euro Barge? If you heard the song, you'd know it. It's by a band.
Probably, yeah. If I heard it, I'd know it for sure.
The band features a drummer that would be a kind of a pipe dream guest for us, and Josh Freese. It's the Vandals.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so the Vandals.
I love Josh Freese.
Yeah, I mean, if you're familiar with him, you know his resume. If you're not familiar with him, go to his Wikipedia. Look at I think it's like 400 bands he's had studio sessions with. It's incredible. Everyone all over the map. But he got his roots with the Vandals. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater got me into him, and then I saw him at Warped Tour a couple years later, I think in 2001 and I think in 2004, 2005. Anyway, I liked that song.
Didn't Scott Russo tell an all-time Josh Freese story on the pod?
Yes, he did.
Oh, yeah.
Way back episode 11, right?
Yes, he did.
Awesome story.
Like, we all knew Freese's brilliance, but that's like one of probably thousands of examples where he even wows musicians, you know. So I got into Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, Warped Tour. I liked the album that Eurobarge was on called Hitler Bad, Vandals Good, which could be a Bandicap. But I remember going back, looking at their catalog, and there's an album that I remember looking at the name. This was like 20 years ago, and being like, I'm not listening to that. It's a play on Live Fast, Die Young. It's called Live Fast, Diarrhea. It's another one. Never listened to the album. I remember checking out Fear of a Punk Planet. I remember checking out like The Quickening, which are all right around that same time frame. But Live Fast Diarrhea, I was like, not for me. No.
Yeah, that's a tough hang. Band name wise or band album wise. That's I don't think I'd pick that one up, and I don't even want to know what the album art is.
It's actually not intrusive. It's
okay. That's good.
Yeah, it's like a little sketch pad.
That could have taken a turn.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, anytime you have diarrhea in your title, just
why? Are there others? Please. Are there others that have?
No, I do recall the Chappelle skit on on Chappelle's show back in the day, where they were like, people were criticizing him and saying it was toilet humor. So then he just came out and had a woman sing Diarrhea in like a opera style, and he thought it was funny and was like, this is screw all the critics, screw all the haters. So I Chappelle's been doing that for years, but that's the only thing I could think of.
The great thing about this album too, which this probably didn't have anything to do with it, but it was their first album on Nitro Records, which is Dexter of Offspring's label. Like, they had changed labels, and I don't know, maybe you'd think you'd want to make a good impression and try to beef up the sales. It didn't hit with me. They're not Blink-182. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. They're a little bit more, almost more serious than them, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But man, this one, this is another one that when we said we were going to do this episode, I was like, what the hell was that Vandals album title?
When did this drop?
Mid-90s, 95?
95,
Yeah, 95.
Okay. Just trying to think. Like, that is kind of the start to that pop punk, silly names. Obviously, Blink being the best at it around that time, and a couple of years later. So maybe they're just trying to be part of that come up, I guess. I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, I don't know. I know Josh Freese has a pretty funny sense of humor. If you follow him on Instagram, he's always posting wacky shit. So it kind of matches Josh, at least, as an individual and his sense of humor. But as a band, yeah, I don't know. The only other thing that I can think of that's like parallel to this is a Blink thing, which is their EP, Take Me to Uranus. And it's got like a...
Yeah, right.
Right? It's taken in space, or it's supposed to be like a sci-fi type cover. But yeah.
Well, that stuff's littered all over Blink-182's catalog, whether it be album titles themselves, Enema of the State, or any number of song titles.
It's Christmas Eve, and my grandpa just
yeah. He's shit in his pants. He's always fucking shit in his pants. Thanks, Mark. But this is that time. I think this is that time frame, and why not jump on it if it's working for some? And who knows, that could have just been let's be silly.
100%.
It's funny though, the visual, like the CD cover, it says Live Fast Diarrhea, but diarrhea is spelled wrong. So it's like an ultimate fucking what the hell's going on. But anyway, here's the punchline with all this. Joke's on me, because I'm going to check out this album. Same thing with Spaghetti Incident.
Yeah, that's why we do this. We got to dig even deeper. We're nerds, but we still have a lot to figure out, lots of research. Good pull, man. I mean, especially because I just added Vandals to my never-ending concert calendar. They're coming to House of Blues in Anaheim.
Nice.
They do a holiday show. Yeah, they do a holiday show every December, with the exception of last year because of the pandemic. They do like a holiday show, play a bunch of covers and stuff. So every year since I've been to California, I've been meaning to go to it, and I keep putting it off. So this year, I'm like, I'm going to this gig.
Nice.
So
yeah, I remember it's been 20 years, but I think it was, first time I saw him was in 01. I think the second time was in 04, 05, both at Warped Tour. So, but I remember it was a good show.
Yeah, anything with Josh, right? Masterful.
So Nate, what you got? What you got round two, Nate?
Interestingly enough, going along with your kind of theme or headspace with album titles that suck, and for that reason, putting you in a situation where you just didn't check out the album at all. For this one in particular is very much in that realm. It's Eric Clapton put out this album a ways back, and I was always a big fan of Eric Clapton. Seen him a bunch live. I'm a big fan of like classic, legendary guitars, especially in concert. But these guys keep putting out albums as a legacy artist, and sometimes I check them out, sometimes I don't. This is one that I didn't check out because the album title and the cover, for that matter, are pretty mediocre. The name of the album is Old Sock.
Oh yeah, that's like in the last decade.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that
Clapton,
cover
right?
is. It's like he's he's got palm trees in the background, and he's like mean mugging the camera.
Pretty much. Looks like a Instagram selfie. Looks like it could come right off of Instagram. The interesting thing about Old Sock, the album, is it was actually recorded here in Encinitas, Surf Dog Records. So I saw it kind of locally on like posters and like in coffee shops, like, hey, Eric Clapton's new album, Old Sock. And I'm like, fuck, it's even recorded in my town that I live in. But like, and I love Eric Clapton, but that name, like, it's shitty. That's a Bandicap album title. And the album cover doesn't help because it just seems so rushed, or I don't care. It's Eric Clapton saying, I don't care.
The album cover looks like An older person's Facebook. I check me out. I'm on vacation photo.
Totally.
There's a palm tree in the background. He's got like a sun hat on. It's just a nice day, and it's a selfie. It's just a selfie, and it says Eric Clapton old sock. Like
Old sock.
that could be on Facebook right now. And as you know, oh, Grandpa went on a vacation.
Pretty much.
So you haven't checked this out at all?
I haven't, and I love Eric Clapton, but it came out and it was plastered in my face locally as like kind of like a local legacy artist on a local record label, and I was like, old sock. Maybe I'll check it out eventually, but I'm not about to grab this right now. And it was because of the Bandicap name. I was just like, old sock, man. Like, why would you name your album that?
Here's a thought.
Right.
With all these albums, like, what was the next best option? Like, all these album titles won. Like, this is what they actually named it. Like, what was
a good call? Like,
left on the cutting room
what's
floor?
on the cutting room floor? Yeah, exactly.
Like, new necktie or something? Like, who the fuck knows? I don't know.
Ripped jorts.
Guys, it's old sock. Final answer.
Yep. Sorry,
Old sock.
we're sticking with old sock. I love all the things you guys came up with. Ripped jorts is great. The new necktie, really, really classic. But let's go with old sock. It's just comfortable.
Yep. We got these profound artist album. We got Frank Maddox on deck to do the artwork for you. No, it's all right. I got a selfie from Instagram. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, perfect. You can touch it up a little if you like.
Actually, you guys are going to think I'm full of shit here. I'm on the wiki, and it's an homage to the Derek Taylor book, 50 Years Adrift, in an open-necked shirt. He was inspired to name the album Old Sock from a conversation with David Bowie. So it was...
Wow.
What the fuck?
So there's a reason. Okay, I like when things have a reason. This makes a little more sense, but there was nothing else in that conversation that...
Right. Is it a good reason?
That moved him? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we don't know. We'll never know.
I mean, at least it's short and sweet. Here's another kicker. Speaking of fact checking, it says the album cover is a selfie of Clapton, who took the picture with his iPhone while on holiday in Antigua.
Oh, so I was exactly right. He was old man goes on vacation. Yeah,
We
exactly.
sniffed this one right out.
Weird. It just looks like old man goes on vacation. Check out my photos.
Yeah, snowing in Maine. I'm in Orlando.
Yeah, but like the photo itself doesn't show anything. Like we didn't know that was Antigua. There's like a little bit of blue sky, a little bit of palm tree, and Clapton.
Here's the kicker. You guys didn't even know this. It's 13 songs of silence. He knew no one would listen to it. No, I'm just kidding.
It's 12 songs. I'm looking at the track list right now.
There's a bonus silence track. No, I mean, I think he can do this because he's who he is and he's got the legacy. But man, I think the list of people that could do this is pretty small and have it hit. Assuming this hit, I have no idea.
Yeah, me either. No clue. Came out 8 years ago, so.
I'd never heard of it, so I don't know. I feel like I'm in tune with this stuff.
I had heard of it. So when Nate said it, I wasn't like, what is that? No, I'd heard. And you know what? When you said it, Nate, I immediately went to, I think the picture, the album art is a picture of Clapton. And sure enough, it was a vacation picture. So yeah, I had heard of it.
I mean, what about a disservice to the people on the album? Paul McCartney and Steve Winwood are on the album. Are they like, dude, old sock, really? Like,
it's got
some
some
picture
covers
of all
too.
three of us in Antigua.
It's got some covers. So this could be well, you said it was a local label, so it wasn't to satisfy a deal, most likely. Man.
Nah, just Clapton doing what he wanted to do at that time. Good for him. He could. I mean, he's a legend. He's absolutely a legend. So.
Yeah.
Good pick. That's another one that I might check that one out.
Yep. All right. What are we thinking? One more each?
Yeah. Sounds good.
I'm up. I'm going to give you one. This is a band that Nate and I had talked about seeing a bunch. And I know that like there were a couple times that we had a chance to, and it just never came through. One being, I think, Wally's Pub down in Hampton Beach. They were playing there, and there was a snowstorm. Do you know who I'm talking about, Nate?
Is it Filter?
It's Filter. Do you know what album I'm talking about?
Title of record.
Title of record. Yes. Just go self-titled, guys, or untitled. You're not being cute with title of record. I'm sorry. It's so, I don't know. It just doesn't work for me. And the record's great. It's a really good Filter record. I think it's, I like that band a lot. I used to listen to them a lot more than I do now, but I still, there's so many good songs in that catalog. and this record has a bunch of them on it. But title of record, like, just name it Untitled or name it Filter. Like, I don't get. It's what this is one of those, like, we're trying to be cute, we're trying to be just oddball enough to make noise, and the music is good. You didn't need to do that. So that's my issue with title of record, Filter, Bandicap.
It's 100% a who's on first thing, because it's like, all right, guys, what's your title of record? Title of record. Yep. Yeah. What is it? Title of record. It's
yeah, exactly. It's totally what it is.
I do own this album. Great album. It's got Take a Picture was the big one. Welcome to the Fold is classic.
Yep.
Yeah. Would this have hit differently with a better album title? It could have. Yep. It definitely could have.
I think they were trying to be different. I think they're trying to be just off beat from, naming it self-titled. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. If you're trying to spite the label, it's just like, dude, like, this is your personal legacy. Like, you really want to, like, shoot yourself in the foot that much. Like, this will always be the album title. So, like, do what you want, but it's a disservice to the album, because the album's fantastic. It's a front to back album, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So self-titled, like, I always thought it was bizarre. Even the album artwork's okay. Now that we're talking to Filter, though, like, I'm looking at all their album titles, and pretty much all their album titles, with the exception of maybe 2, are pretty bad. Short Bus,
Jesus,
Crazy Eyes, Murica, like literally Murica, MU.
Short Bus.
Yeah. Anthems for the Damned, not the best.
The Amalgamate's not bad, though.
That's a good name. In fact, that's a better album than this, and this is a great album.
Yeah, exactly. Those are probably there. That's probably the peak of Filter, those 2 records, I would say.
Yeah.
The artwork for title record, I think, it's so, like, not in your face, and I think it's classic. I think it's a great album cover.
Yep. Well, Short Bus is similar. It's kind of those 2 are that era of Filter, and then Amalgamate after, which doesn't have a ton on it, but those 2 are similar. Like, the writing of Filter and the way that it kind of all looks it's cool. Mm-hmm. It's an aesthetic. I think that piece is okay.
Yeah. But, yeah. It's not bad. It's actually better than Amalgamate, which is a pretty bad album cover. That's a different segment.
Yeah, I don't know. That one still has the same like
kind
writing of Filter.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I don't dislike that one as much as you, Nate. I think that might be up for debate.
Yeah.
We don't agree on something. This happens occasionally.
Yeah, it does happen.
It could be writers, like equivalent of writer's block, where it's like, guys, I don't know, man. We did Short Bus. That didn't go over well. Let's play this safe.
Welcome to the Fold.
Yeah, that would have been great. Yeah.
It's a great song, too.
Another example where just point to one of the tracks. Do a title track.
Mm-hmm. Take a Picture would be good, too, even,
I Will Lead You. There's a few options.
Yep, definitely. This Sand. I mean, any of these would have worked, but we're just reading through track listing, the names of the songs here, obviously, but there's some really great songs on here that could have also doubled down as your title track for the record.
Man, one of the best parts about doing this is like just seeing this album again. I'm going to listen to this tomorrow, because I used to play It's Gonna Kill Me on repeat. That fucking song slays.
Mm-hmm. They're underrated, man. I mean, right through, the what was the one that came out in like The Sun came out in 2013, I think. The Sun Comes Out Tonight. That one's good. So there's some there's some really good Filter stuff out there. So I would say go back and peep their catalog, because they're underrated. I think they're an underrated band.
Yeah, they don't make a lot of people's lists of anything or a lot of conversation at all. Like they had their moment. Like, if you were around back in the 90s, and they've continued to make music, but pretty generic names
staple.
too.
Yeah, they were a staple on rock radio, though. They were alternative radio. I mean, you didn't.
Yep.
Hey Man, Nice Shot was everywhere. Take a Picture was everywhere.
Yeah, that song's great.
That's probably their biggest hit. I mean, that's a song my dad liked, so obviously it was a big one. American Cliche, great song. That's from Amalgam.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Where Do We Go From Here was another big radio song.
Yep.
Like they had some. Goddamn Me. How great is Goddamn Me? Now we're just going into Filter love.
So
here,
good. Yeah,
I love that song. I'm gonna do a little Filter deep dive myself, I think. But shit, yeah. Title of record is a Bandicap as far as album titles go. I think it was just name it Untitled or one of the great songs on the record.
If you want a gold record of this album, they come up on eBay every now and then, and they're pretty reasonable, like a couple $100, sometimes under.
That's not bad. Yeah, that's not bad at all.
I love that you brought that up because it's such a nerd thing. Like, who's searching for certified gold albums on eBay? Me, Twan, and like maybe like one or two of our listeners, and like just a bunch of random nerds out there that we hopefully meet at some shows or something.
All right, last one here for me. It's a band I love. They have an all-time album, and they got a couple great albums sprinkled in. 90s OG. Their all-time album is Meantime. The solid album for me is Betty, which could be a band album handicap, but the album that takes the segment here is Size Matters by Helmet. Band is Helmet. The album title is Size Matters, and this is another one that this album had a little hype to it because Helmet took a hiatus from like 98 to like 04. It was like 6 or 7 years there. It was the return of Helmet, really just Page, the frontman and guitarist, Page Hamilton. And this was like the return album that some people thought it should have been like a solo album, but it was a lot of hype. I remember getting it down at college. Never really gave it the time of day because I don't know if in the moment it was because of the album title or maybe I just didn't really care for it too much, but I'd love to know the backstory. Like, size matters. Like, what the hell is going on?
Well, and the album art is what appears to be a woman with a magnifying glass over her face. You can't see her face, but she's obviously magnifying something.
Yeah.
So, infer what you want of the name, the album title, and then the woman holding a magnifying glass on the cover.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's a woman. It may not be. I could be wrong. Don't at me there. This is just a
Yeah. No, good disclaimer. I think you're right though. I think there's a lot of at least first initial reaction as a male, you're like, oh, that's not cool. Am I gonna check out the album now? No, I feel offended.
yeah, right.
I guess and this isn't just for this album, but it goes for all these albums. It's like out of any string of words or a sentence or a single word that you could possibly put together for an album title, you go with this. It's interesting, and there's probably a backstory, or maybe there isn't. But for like a return album, I don't know. The album, it's just okay for me. Like I remember it being trying to fit in with what was going on at the time, as opposed to like Meantime, which is super raw, super aggressive, all-time album. If you don't know that album, go check it out. This one was just okay, and I don't know, maybe subconsciously the album title had something to do with it.
Yeah, totally. There are names to go back to what we were doing with other records. Like there are song titles that would have been good album titles too. I mean, "See You Dead" with the magnifying glass would have fit.
Yeah.
With it, you could have used the same art. So there's some stuff on there that would have absolutely worked for album titles that maybe fit a little better than Size Matters.
If we ever do like a favorite band font episode, Helmet will be up there for me. It's just the red and the white is just classic.
And they lean into it. They use it a decent amount throughout their discography, and it's definitely them, right?
Yeah.
I like that point. Actually, the font actually reminds me of the Clutch logo a little bit.
Yeah. Yep.
Like it looks like something you see in Home Depot or something like that's like a Tool. Tool's original logo looks like that too, right? Yeah. Yeah,
a little bit. Clutch was a band that I looked through to see if they had any that would fit this segment, and it's quite the opposite, I believe, for that band. So
yeah,
I think they do a really good job naming their things.
Well, the other one I could have gone with was their debut album, which I've never heard. Where I started in the discography was Meantime, but the first album was called Strap It On.
Yeah,
that's a good one. Or a bad one.
Leaning into some sexual innuendo with those, I believe.
Yeah.
All right, Nate, you got one more?
Oh man.
Yeah, that's good. Comeback album, not necessarily a good choice. This is another comeback album, I guess. I mean, they were a little off the map for a second. Not that they ever took a long break. And this is probably the only album we're going to talk about tonight that we may all agree on that the album actually isn't good and the album title isn't good. So it's almost like a perfect shitstorm, which is Metallica's Saint Anger.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
I would argue I think the album name is good.
You like it, really?
I do. I think the connotation around the music is why people don't like it.
I never liked the album title. I think it's because I don't like the album cover, which is also very shitty in my opinion. Yeah. So between that and the album title, I still got past all that and listened to the music, and I was like, that's not good either. So it's like this, in my own personal view, like, man, this is just a miss, big time. Band, album title, cover, and the music collectively, like, is just a miss. Unfortunately, and Metallica's a great band. Don't get me wrong; it's one of my favorites. But Bandicap, I think. But you don't agree, which is actually good. It's good to have two sides of the coin.
I think the name of the record is, I think you have the negative connotation because you didn't like the record. That's my personal view. I think the name of the record is actually pretty good, but they could have done other things too. Like they named the documentary they did around it Some Kind of Monster, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There's a song title on here. That's a great. That could be a great album title too, especially from Metallica. But I think Saint Anger fits them, especially at this time. I think it's not as bad as you think. That's just me. That's my opinion. That's why we do this, right?
I guess Saint Anger was a patron saint that James Hetfield made up for himself as he struggled with anger issues his whole life. So that obviously fits with the imagery. I know this isn't a visual episode here, but I do like the artwork. I wish there was more Metallica branding on it. You know what I mean? I think people know what it is because it's known as the album cover. Yeah, I don't know. The album title's just okay. It's hard to separate anything positive about this album, to take away anything positive about this album, because I think it just didn't hit. Right. I didn't like the album, and a lot of people go back to the snare drums, which sounds like a trash can. And I don't know, would a better album name save this? No. Then that album title would have been looked at differently.
Yeah, you're right. Yep, totally. So I hear you there, Nate. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's also the song Saint Anger, so like you hear it like through the music, Saint Anger, and you're like, even the song's not good. So you're reminded how, at least again, in my opinion, how much the album title just doesn't translate, because even the song, like, is just so like non-cohesive. You're like, even the fucking song where he says Saint Anger, like, it's just like, what is this rhythm in this song? It's just back and forth, but it doesn't even work. Like, I actually like songs that are complicated, but this one is like, I don't know, uncalculated, rushed, and just maybe they should have just waited. But trust me, I know that I'm going with the trend of this is not a great album. Collectively, a lot of people agree this is just not a great album, so I get that.
Although when we had Metallica featured on another episode, it was the comeback album, right? The comeback album episode.
Yep.
Metallica stans came out of the woodwork and was like, "No, this is a good album."
That's true.
People were like, Metallica fans were higher on this than I think the casual music listener would know or appreciate.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Then I'm somewhere in the middle. Like, I like Metallica. I think their back catalog has kind of hindered the whole thing a little bit. This was a miss. The album title, no matter what you threw out, even if the album title was great, it would have had a poor connotation, I think, because of the music.
I got a question. This is to flip it on its head for you, Nate.
Yeah.
If the album were great, would you feel the same way about the title?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. All right.
But I think it's because it always ties back to the song Saint Anger, which is like, I can't listen to that song because it's so horrendous for me to. I mean, this is again my personal opinion. Every time I've played that song, it just sounds so like, I don't know. I just don't like that song at all.
What if the song was good though? That's what I'm saying. Like, say it's Nothing Else Matters, but it's called Saint Anger. Do you like it better? You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm trying to say. It's a hypothetical. It's hard to put yourself in that position because you know what it is, but
I still think that I wouldn't like it because it's Saint, which is like a saint, right? And then anger, which is an emotion. Usually that's supposed to work because it's artistic, but in this sense, for whatever reason, and likely is still tied to the fact that it's tied to something that I can reference, is like, right. I don't know.
That makes sense.
It's like they're taking 5 steps backward. Like, they're a pretty complicated band in terms of like lyricism. Just so simple. Hetfield put out that it's like, dude, really? Saint Anger? After putting out like all these masterpieces in the past, like Master of Puppets and all these like really cool names, and then Saint Anger, it seems like a step down, in my opinion.
I would agree with that. Like, even Load and Reload, it's forget the music, cool names. I will agree. This is the worst album title for them, and they have some. It's tough to keep up with some of the early ones. Ride the Lightning. Are you kidding me? Kill 'Em All. I'm all in.
Right.
Saint Anger.
Not quite the same. Doesn't hit quite the same.
Right.
I hear that. Yeah.
Good pick, though. Good pick. I wouldn't have thought of that one, and that's why we do this.
Yeah, me either. This didn't even cross my mind when looking up records today. I have one I want to throw at you guys that I think overcomes a bad album title.
Nice.
I want to see if you guys agree with me. I think for me, I've looked at this album title for years and been like, this, if the record was bad, this could have gone really poorly for the band. The band is a 90s OG, but they're still kicking around today. They've been heavily featured on this podcast off and on over the 2+ years or 1+ years we've been doing it. I not that long ago got a pretty ballin' birthday present from my wife, a poster from the time frame of this album dropping in 94, I believe. 24 by 36, big time. The whole album cover, which is full of a bunch of drawings of monkeys throwing poop. So Dookie by Green Day is what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yep.
I think if that record sucks, we're looking at this as an all-time flop, bomb, terrible.
Yep.
Like, why
Agreed.
call it Poop? Like, why'd you name your album Poop? What are you doing?
Totally agree. Yeah. And it's funny, like that was the breakthrough major label, and they let it ride. They must have known they had something.
Yeah, I mean, and they clearly did. It was massive. It was, Longview and Basket Case and When I Come Around and She and just big hit after big hit that were all over the radio then. And Dookie is the name of the record. And like you've got, DJs across the country being like, in Green Day's new album, Dookie, here's Basket Case. Like, you had everybody saying poop on the radio and on MTV because of how big your album was. But if it had been bad, this was a Bandicap album title for sure.
Oh, 100%.
So that underscores kind of the point you're trying to make with Nate, which is if the music was good, would you have even noticed? And I think the answer is
Maybe.
probably not
yeah.
most of the
Yep.
time,
Anger is such like a direct word because it's like anger and then like the derivatives of anger, right? Dookie is a derivative of poop. So if it was Green Day Poop, you'd be like, that's a fucking shitty band album title. But Dookie
Literally,
is like such
that's a shitty album.
Pun intended.
shitty poopy Dookie. That's
I can't wait to cut that and use that in a promo. Oh yeah, you're right. And it's all in the eye of the beholder, right? We're all looking at it through our own lens, and that's kind of the beauty of the whole thing is it's subjective, and we all have our own opinions, and that's why we do this once a week because it's fun to talk this stuff out. We don't always agree, which is always it's fun to have those moments too because you learn something, and I think of something a different way because you guys bring something to the table that I didn't think of. So yeah, Dookie I think would have been, had it been a bad record, would have tanked the band. Instead, it was an amazing record. No one even thinks about the fact that they named their album Poop. And here we are today, still talking about how legendary Green Day, their catalog from after that. Insomniac is great. Nimrod is great. They came back with American Idiot in the middle of the 2000s. Like they're an iconic band now. They're a Hall of Famer. So could have been Poop.
Smoothed out happy hours? What, no, slappy hours?
1036, yeah, 39, yeah. Yep.
Maybe we should do a 3-album run of shitty titles, album
There's
titles.
plenty of them out there. I mean, we could find. I mean, I steered clear, and I did this when we did the album art episode, the death metal, black metal stuff. I steered clear of those because they're just not. We get it. If I brought up Cannibal Corpse's, whatever, it would have been like, yeah, we know we've done this before. So.
Well, it's funny you say that. I was flipping through my CD booklet today and yesterday trying to, pin down a couple for tonight, and I come across in my collection Cannibal Corpse's Kill. And I was like, for other bands, it would be an album Bandicap, but not for them.
It's actually a tame one for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we could have done that. And instead, we went a little, found our own personal stuff. And I'm kind of glad that I brought up the Dookie thing after the St. Anger thing because we didn't know what we were going to do tonight. And they kind of did fit hand in hand. And they're two separate things that, like, okay, yeah, St. Anger didn't work for Nate because the record didn't work too. But if it had an album title like Dookie, but the record was awesome, you just kind of brush it off like no big deal.
Yeah. You accept it for what it is. You're like, oh, it doesn't matter. The album's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. That was fun, guys. We'll probably do the reverse of that
Totally.
album band vantage at some point.
I found a bunch of those in my travels today too. Like, oh yeah, this fits perfectly for that band. Like the whole thing works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you guys have got one out there, you're listening and you think of a couple albums that the name just didn't do it for you, even if the music was good, like hit us up on the socials, hit us up podcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear what you think, the records that you're like, man, I love that record, but why did they name it this? That this is total Bandicap album edition, certified Bandicap. Hit us up there, and we'd love to like look through those and talk about them maybe next week.
Yeah, awesome guys. Let us know. Hit us up. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll be back next week, right?
Hell yeah.
Next week, back at it. Thanks for everyone that's listening. See you next time. Cheers.
Peace, podheads.
Peace.